Hey everybody, and welcome to Geek2Geek, a free for all podcast.
A free for all.
It is free.
A free for all.
Yeah, it's
free. Podcast. I'm your host, Trey Elliott, filling in for Evan Swafford, the fun host. Joining me, as always, Josh Barnett.
You're not as fun.
I'm not.
But it's okay.
I'm a bit of a wet blanket, some would say. Chuck Nowie's here.
These violent delights.
Yep.
Of violent ends.
I almost posted it as my status right afterward, and then, within the next day, I saw, 40 of my friends that have done
It's
that.
played at this point, but,
It's still an awesome...
Yeah,
not on our...
You don't get introduced, Eric. I'm sorry. Chuck decided to just start the show like an asshole. So now I can't introduce Eric, and therefore Eric cannot speak. So thanks for coming, Eric. Have a good day. Josh is attempting to turn off your mic.
I decided not to.
That's good.
He was flicking that bean, though. That's
I
for
was.
sure. He was getting up in it.
Turn it on, girl.
Oh, God, that's an image I didn't want.
Yeah.
Eric Crane's here, back again.
Hello.
That was sensual.
What just
and
happened?
A little breathy.
I'm in it today.
That old breathy.
Yeah, you know.
Breathy Eric, that's what we call him.
Please don't.
Oh, shit.
Used to be Wheezy Eric, but then he got his health in check, and now he's just breathy.
Holy shit. Oh, that was really funny. Hey, so Westworld is a show on HBO.
Goddamn right it is.
Can I talk
Can we
about
rhyme the
the
entire
800-pound
time?
gorilla in the room real quick? Maeve's nipples were weird, right?
Yes. You're not alone in that one.
Okay. She was super hot, but her nipples were
What do you
weird.
call
Yeah.
the
Areola?
outside? Yeah, she had
No, that's the Little Mermaid, dude. Come on.
Her aerials were
That's a
weird.
different movie now.
There it is.
That's a different movie now.
She had very tall aerials. It was
I believe they're raised. They're a raised aerial.
no, but obviously the center part of the nipple often gets hard on many ladies.
Yeah.
But she had that, and then a second,
Yes.
it was
She
like
had
a,
a
it was like a
blasting
baby
cap
bottle.
on the end of her tit.
It was like true Mother Nature. She had a baby bottle.
Are you just
nipple
talking about
right on the end.
puffy nipples? That's what they were.
Yeah,
They
but,
were
in a
exaggerated
weird, in a
puffy
weird
nipples.
dome, like a Stephen King novel went on underneath of that nipple.
Under the nipple.
So as the fun host Evan would say, this is the show in which we talk about all the naked women.
Yes.
Okay.
He would indeed.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that we got that out of the
Yeah.
way.
That
Thank
being
you.
said, this is going to be a SpoilerCast about the HBO series Westworld. So, if you have not watched Westworld and intend to do so,
Skip to the end of this show.
yeah, or just stop playing it would be an easier thing to do.
As long as you download it and give us 5 stars on iTunes.
Yeah,
We'll
you
call
have to
it
do
even.
that, and also save it. So when you do finish Westworld,
Max is spanking it.
your dog heard about nipples. It is doing things.
Oh, how did they know that was my thing?
Oh no! He loves dome nipples. The old DNs.
Oh my god.
Not spoilers, I guess necessarily that there are nipples in this show, but
There's a lot.
going
A
forward,
whole lot.
all plot points and nipples we discuss will be spoilerish.
And dick.
So,
There's
yeah,
a lot
there's-
of dick in this show,
yeah, we're
too.
gonna talk about dicks.
It's
too.
more dick in this show than any other
If-
show I think I've seen. That's a lot of dick. It's a lot of dick.
I'm laughing at you're talking about dicks, and there's the sound of a dog just furiously masturbating behind you.
He's not masturbating.
It
He's
sounds like
Spanking it.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
it's-
riding
yeah.
that pony.
He's hitting it doggy style.
Genuine.
Oh, was that a song from...
Really?
I'm not up on the hip-hop, Josh. Believe it or not.
He's an R&B
I'm
artist.
not down on the white
Ride
tick.
that pony? That's like the Magic Mike song.
I haven't seen Magic Mike either.
You've heard that song
Oh,
a lot.
no.
Sing it for me.
I'm not gonna do that.
And just throw a dash of Coheed in it. Just stir that pot.
That's what Max was doing.
Is that what you call it?
I'm gonna pull it up on YouTube right now.
Max?
You do that. And
That's a weird website you get.
who wants to tackle basically for those who might be watching that?
like a general synopsis of the show?
Yeah. So people maybe just be curious what Westworld is and don't give a shit if we spoil the shit of it. You probably should care, because it relies pretty heavily on its plot twists and writing and such. But
yeah, don't just spoil this for yourself and then decide to go watch it. It's not going to be the same.
It's also, forewarning, this is the first of potentially up to 6 seasons that they've talked about. However, synopses. This is a show that is based on the movie that is based on a book from Michael Crichton.
Was it ever actually a book? I don't recall. I thought he
story.
wrote the movie and that was it. Like he wrote and directed the movie.
I thought it was.
I
like,
heard
totally
somewhere
a book.
that it was a book. I don't.
Regardless,
Cannot confirm.
Regardless, essentially what this is a time setting that sets somewhere in the future, maybe, where people go to extravagant, lavish theme parks where they can live out fantasies. And these fantasies involve essentially life simulades. They're not really robots. I guess they are, but they are essentially androids to a degree where you can't tell the difference between a person and a simulade.
3D printed people.
More or less. I mean, the process of them getting made is really cool, especially the intro. God, that intro is awesome. Anyway, and then the show is essentially some of the chaotic nature and twist and just fucking mind humps that you can go through. So that's essentially the plot of the show as far as the synopses, and we'll get into the spoilers right about now.
Also, spoiler, it is not a book.
Yep.
Okay.
Thought I was right. Turns out I was. It's the last time I'll ever be
And the
right.
first time, oddly enough.
This is a special
Full
moment
circle.
in time for me.
Oh, man. Now I'm kind of bummed there's not a book. Anyway. I don't want you to have a special moment.
I wouldn't be surprised if they made it one now, at least, or graphic novels for sure.
I thought you were just saying some guys like, oh, man,
Fuck that Josh guy.
We gotta someone write a book quick.
But that copyright is 1978.
We'll just give this to Michael Crichton, who's dead now.
Just dig that man up, put a pen in his hand, see what happens.
Is Michael Crichton dead?
Yeah.
He died like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, how about
I thought
that?
you were going to say 4 or 5 hours ago.
4 or 5
Fire
hours
hours
ago.
Killed by a leprechaun, oddly enough.
In the hood.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bad movie. A really bad movie. No, so I guess let's kind of start out with just talking about some of the characters. Does anyone have like a definite front runner favorite character of the show? Eric is nodding his head. Great for podcasts. Go ahead.
Bernard for sure. Bernard / the other name that he goes by.
Yeah,
or
we'll
went
get to
by.
that here in a minute.
It's a spoilercast. Say Arnold.
Yeah.
Arnold. Yeah, Bernard.
There's one person out to go, oh, shit!
Yeah, it's impressive that they got an actor with such a football-shaped head.
Dude, Jeffrey Wright is a
Awesome.
solid actor. I hope he gets a lot more work from this. He's been working for a long time, and he's always good in what he does.
What has he
but-
been in?
You would recognize him from Hunger Games.
Okay, you're right. I would. Now that you
or
say
Catching Fire on, rather.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of. If you IMDb him, he's been in like 100
He's
something stuff.
awesome, though, and he's great.
He
as
does have
Bernard.
one of those
Yeah.
faces. Like there are several actors that are like that. You're like, I know I've seen this dude in like 8 things,
Yeah,
but I don't know what those 8 things are.
yeah.
He's one of those guys. I will remember him in this. When someone says Jeffrey White, I will go, oh, the guy from Westworld now.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, up until the certain scene with him that changes most things, a certain level of a certain level-headedness that he has is a resting place in the mind humpery that is the TV show. That quoting the great Chuck.
Yeah, exactly.
There
It's
is some
kind of like
mind
a reprieve, I guess.
Yes, like every time he's on screen, you're just sitting there like, oh, all right, I get to just listen to something instead of try to think like for myself, trying to figure something out.
He also kind of gave the show a moral center.
Yes.
In a way, like he totally, at least for the first 8 episodes or 7 episodes or so, definitely felt to be like the rock of like morality for this show.
Yeah, which in a show where morality is skewed
It's
heavily
fucked.
in one direction,
Yeah.
Correct.
that direction being away from morality.
In the complete opposite, in that same tick, I loved Logan. I thought Logan was a great counter to William for those scenes. I thought he had a chaotic nature to him that was a lot of fun. The actor, I believe it was Ben Barnes, had just you could tell he had so much fun playing that character.
So out of all the characters, that's your favorite guy?
Not favorite. I'm just thinking of characters I like. I'm still trying to figure out who is my actual straight up favorite.
To me, Logan is 100% forgettable. It seemed like they wrote him way too over the top. Like he was almost like a comic book villain in certain aspects.
And yeah, I was actually going to make that same point. So Logan is probably my least favorite character on the show. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a couple I'm just not thinking of, but that actor I thought was one of probably the worst actors on the show, which is not still saying. I mean, he's still a good actor, but I thought he got outacted quite a bit in almost every scene he was in, and I definitely agree with Chuck's point that his character felt way too over the top at times. It was very, very comic book.
Especially after they ran back into Dolores and William.
Yes.
And they were in that around the campfire and stuff like that, and he cut her open and stuff like that. That whole scene, I was just
it was a little
pouring it on
he did everything but maniacally laugh, basically.
Maniacal laugh.
Yes,
I liked that, and it fit the show for me because it was almost the most Western thing of it. He kind of was the dastardly Western villain.
Except he wasn't. And if he was a host, I might have bought that, but he wasn't.
I don't know. The idea of people coming to
we don't think he is.
The idea of people coming to that world and letting that side of themselves out, it for me, it worked. It worked quite well. Would he be my favorite? No. If you want to talk about least favorite characters before I get into my favorite, it's absolutely Sylvester and fucking Felix.
They're the worst,
dude.
Oh, the Tex.
I love them.
Really,
dude? They are written perfectly to me. They are stupid. Really,
level of
really
stupid,
dumb, really fucking stupid. But no, you guys have mentioned that a couple of times, this idea that why would they not just go tell their boss or go tell anybody that this was happening? But to me, it was written very well in that and I forget which one was which now, in terms of names.
Felix was
the white boy.
Why say it that way?
You literally both said it at the same time, and I don't know what either of you said.
Josh is trying to get back to the white tick.
Felix is.
This guy knows. This guy fucks.
Oh man,
Felix is.
Oh, thank you for bringing that back to me.
Felix is the Asian.
Okay.
Why you gotta go that way?
Because I didn't add boy at the end of it.
Oriental, actually.
Felix clearly, to me, and I think that actor did. Again, he's probably certainly not the best actor in the show or anything, but the guy who played Felix did a good job to me of conveying that he was morally conflicted on what to do. He obviously for most of the time, and he waned and kind of you thought he might go the other way, but he clearly thought he was doing the right thing and thought that this robot had a conscience and was real and deserved to not be treated as a slave and all these themes in the show. He believed in all that. So why would he go to his boss and then other dude basically was just playing catch up all the time and was clearly a fucking moron.
But at the same time, she never had any I'm not saying she needed to be motherly or anything, but she never had any sort of warmness or anything that made me think that, you know what, yeah, this is absolutely somebody that I think should just be walking around free.
Have you guys ever thought of the possibility that Ford just told that Asian guy to go ahead and upgrade her like that?
No,
it's
I didn't think about that.
It's totally possible. I mean, we don't know, and that's one of the things we'll talk about later. But we don't know who wrote that storyline.
When he towards the end does this with his hand, and it's
it was funny as shit.
God damn it! It's so good.
I will agree. Well, you've swayed me. Felix is a great character now that you've talked about it. No. Sylvester
You're
is
welcome.
Sylvester's my worst, the worst character.
He's easily the worst of the two.
He's meant to be a douchebag. He's clear. He's the kind of dude who probably has a little bit of child porn on his computer. That.
That's the guy who wanted to fuck Hector.
Well, he fucked all of them. That's his thing.
That dude has just a lot of gay porn on his computer.
All of it. No, he fucked some girl too earlier in the show.
Well, there you go. He just has lots of
that dude just wants to fuck robots.
So
robot porn.
Is that your standout? Is the Asian guy?
No, I think he was just defending him because I brought him up.
He brought him up. I was just talking about him.
For me, I now made a decision. It's Ford. I know that he's one of the main characters, so it's kind of a cop out, but I thought he was written and portrayed so wonderfully. Anthony Hopkins absolutely destroyed it in that role.
As soon as you forget how great he is, he does something like this, and you're just motherfucker.
Oh yeah, he's not just a guy who's been around for a while. He's one of the greatest living actors ever.
Ever.
He's fantastic.
And that character is written so well. I mean, he essentially even if you think about it, because of him coming up to William at the end, he wrote all of that into the night, Journey into Night or whatever at the end, because that's where he planned for Teddy and Dolores to be on that beach, and that wouldn't have happened unless he choreographed that meeting at the church. Like all of that, he from the beginning of the show or even before that, he planned it all. It was incredible. That the show is just fucking masterfully written. Mine's The Man in Black, and not like the William version of it, the pre-Man in Black, but the Ed Harris, badass
old Man in Black.
Dolores. Like it was Ed Harris also. As soon as you forget how awesome of an actor that guy is, he does a shit. I mean, there's
those
so many
two playing off each other.
That's my favorite scene in the show. Like the last 2 episodes, is them in the bar
in
together,
the bar with Teddy.
Yeah. And Teddy, I mean, James Morton, you just stay over there.
Oh man, I dug me some Teddy. That dude is the Kenny of Westworld.
Yeah, he is.
Every episode, that motherfucker is gonna die.
The fact that at least one episode, someone can go say, "Oh man,"
like the Man in Black phrased it perfectly. He's like, "You're the loser. You always will be the loser."
Yeah.
That's how they programmed you.
Yeah,
and that's what he is. I mean, he was a dupe the entire time.
Yep.
God damn, this show is good.
It really is.
The Man in Black was easily my second favorite character. He would be the person I would talk about, aside from Bernard coming back at the end.
Bennett.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite character is probably Bernard.
That seems like a Trey thing to pick.
Sure.
Brady is upset
not gay,
with our...
so I don't know why you would say that, but
Brady is upset with our results here.
Yeah.
He very clearly would have said Dolores, and she was fantastic.
You know what? That's actually a fair point.
That actress has she been in anything? She was awesome.
It's Evan Rachel Wood. Yeah, she's been in quite a bit. I can't remember.
She has got a lazy eye like a motherfucker or something.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I didn't really notice it. I will say this,
especially that last episode where there's so many like up close things. I'm just like, which am I? Is she looking? What's going on?
I would argue that she is has the best performance of anybody on the show, including Anthony Hopkins. Though
I disagree with that, but I can see where your point, especially when she's going back and forth.
Yes,
between
man,
and
that's mostly early on. But scenes between her and Bernard, where she is having to like jump accents and emotions and all this stuff. Holy shit, dude! It's a masterclass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like Orphan Black level, like holy fuck acting to me. And I never thought I would be like, oh, like this show has like a performance on the level of Orphan Black, because I didn't think that was possible. But this comes really close.
Her and the interactions between her and the Man in Black and the church were also pretty fucking fantastic.
I like her less now because I realized she was in True Blood, but
oh god, I like her a lot more now. Well, like what is she known for?
That's
Tell me IMDb.
Not eye surgery, that's for sure.
I mean, she was in The Wrestler, which is an awesome movie. She was in Across the Universe. She was the female lead in that. I know I've seen her, like, I want to say she was in, like, fucking One Tree Hill or something like that. Like, she started early.
She wasn't in One Tree Hill.
I don't want to wait. Right? See?
I know about One Tree Hill.
That makes me...
She wasn't in it.
No, apparently.
Either way,
nothing
I've
huge.
never seen her in anything else, I don't think, or at least not that I remember. But
her big breakout was that movie 13, which
gotcha.
like was early 2000s, like coming of age for teenage girls.
Either way, it turns out she can really fucking act.
She can.
Like, holy shit.
She can.
Who else character-wise? Maeve we haven't really talked about outside of her nipples. And while they are a bit distracting,
Tandy Newton, yeah,
man, she was also really good.
Who would have thought that she would have been as big a fucking part through the first half of the season as she was?
Well, I mean, it really took a while for her stuff to get going.
Like as soon as she like walked outside when she got like the ability to control other hosts, and she's just like, and then the sheriff decided that these were God-fearing, and I was like, oh shit. She controls a lot of stuff now.
And it was super cool. I loved like the narrative, like storyteller aspect of that.
Like she had to say it that way.
I was saying when we were, because Eric hadn't been watching the show, and then we marathoned it all on Saturday night and Sunday leading up to the finale.
You know the commercial, like, this is your brain on drugs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this is
Westworld.
Her contract has to be like the weirdest in television. It's got to be like, listen, you're going to be naked about 90% of your screen time, but anytime we show you fuck, you're going to be fully clothed.
Yeah.
It is so weird.
It's a whorehouse, man. You gotta have some dignity.
I really, I really hope that exact verbiage was put in the contract.
Listen, this is the contract here.
The lawyer's like looking over it. It says anytime you're fucking. It's got the apostrophe after the N and everything. It's
Yes,
impressive.
keep that.
It's grammatically correct. No, yeah, she
like
was
an audio contract.
She was really good. I will say, like, and I don't think no one in this show really delivered a bad performance. At least not that I can remember.
I can't think of anybody who was bad.
But she did not do like the in and out of emotion or like going from like being a robot to being an android kind of thing. She did not do that as well as Rachel Wood.
She went into some deep emotion cuts whenever, specifically relating to her daughter.
Yeah, she did emotion well. I just don't think she did the in and out part well.
I would say
like the switching.
Clementine wasn't the best. She was.
God, the whole you ain't got much of a rind on you. I'm like, God, I'm so tired of hearing that because I've watched almost every episode 3 times now because I went back through with Kristen and my mom.
Gotcha.
And I just like, there's so many rinds.
Yeah,
I hope Lily Simmons stays in the show. Speaking of that, character,
of other Clementine.
Yes, Clementine. Deuce.
I will say though, like she kills that fucking like dumbfounded look, like the off robot look. She just nails it.
That's fair. Yeah.
She also kind of looks like a bird, a little bit beakish.
Fair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you want to talk about like underrated and underused characters, it's Abernathy for me. That dude was like my favorite character in the first episode.
That guy did a great job. I thought the forgotten Hemsworth did a good job too.
He was good.
I don't know his name.
He's
Stubbs?
probably
That was his character's name. Yeah.
Oh,
Stubbs.
I just called him the elder Hemsworth.
I want to say it's like Carl Hemsworth or something lame like that.
Carl.
Frank. Just insert shitty name here.
Judd.
Generic Hemsworth. Come on.
Trey.
Fuck you, bro. Fuck you.
Elliot with 1 T.
Yeah, now you're not talking about me. It's cool. Now he was probably as close as you got to a bad performance in that show. I mean, again, not bad.
I think
it was
forgettable. I think is more.
That's
apt.
probably a much better description. Actually.
Anytime Ford and the Man in Black were on the screen at the same time, I was just like, God, I want them to fist fight. I just think
it's also
Ed Harris versus.
God, I just want them to fist fight.
Man, I wish they'd put up their dukes.
One of them better yell "Have at you," though.
Oh, that would be Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, so
he's been knighted, sir.
The British guy I liked a lot. The narrative guy.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of people with
the guy who was in charge of the narrative, the one that you didn't like.
Oh no, I did not like. Actually, he might be the worst.
Saying something. He's one of the few people we don't know the name of the character or the actor.
Yeah, I can't
remember either.
But I actually thought he was really funny in the first couple episodes, and then he took a complete backseat for about 6 episodes and came back a little bit in the last 2.
He played drunk well.
I was like,
he peed on stuff.
He did indeed.
I was like, why are you yelling? Nobody's like getting mad at you. You're just yelling now.
He's an over-the-top, boisterous personality.
Okay. But like, I just remember watching that and being like, stop, just calm down. All right.
It was cool to see. There was that one scene where the dude was like eating the leg or whatever.
Oh yeah,
he was
also when she was like, he's making some new narrative for this crazy out there villain Wyatt or something, and he's like, him, and she's like, no, that's busy work.
Yeah,
Charlotte was kind of annoying actually.
Not my favorite character for sure, but again,
she
really
played the role that she was supposed to play.
Yeah.
I didn't think Teresa did the greatest job acting either. I can't remember her actress's name. She was just okay, middle of the road.
Whoever Elsie was, I thought she brought a lot of personality to the show.
Much older Ellen Page.
Sure, I mean
that's
that girl's
like.
been
Sorta.
in other stuff.
That girl also likes her some robot.
Yeah,
that's fair.
She seems
specifically the D.
Well, I believe Chuck calls them juicy hogs.
Damn it! In the first episode, she makes out with a woman robot.
Oh, that's right.
She does kiss Clementine.
She sure did.
So, probably the biggest, outside of amazing writing and amazing acting, kind of the best part about the show is that it leads you on quite a bit of a journey. There's a lot of plot twists. It's one of those shows that there were constantly like fan theories and articles being written about what think's going to happen next week or at the end of the season or whatever. So let's kind of jump into some of that stuff. And
real quick, shout out to the player piano for my actual favorite character.
That's fair.
That piano
I will
was
say
fucking best.
The first few episodes, every time I was like, oh, I know what that song is. Like Black Hole Sun played at one point.
It was Black Hole Sun, then Painted Black, and they did a couple of them, and then they were like, oh, we're just gonna fall in love with Radiohead, the world's most overrated band, and play them all the time.
Yeah, like towards the end, I was like, I don't ever know what these songs are. So I would argue player piano, not the best character. A little overrated.
The House of the Rising Sun was amazing. They brought that back in like episode 8 or 9.
It was cool that they did
was
it,
the
though.
best part.
I'll be curious if they keep that.
House of the Rising Sun. Josh and I, he alluded to it. We watched 2 episodes on Saturday night. I woke up, went over to his apartment, watched the rest of the season up until the finale, pretty much back to back to back to back. We took some breaks, but watching that much Westworld within
48 hours,
three-fourths of a day, time span wise, and I just I could tell every episode Josh looked over at me to see.
I didn't know. I mean, there were so many theories going on, and you were like,
to see if he was just like, so got any theories yet? And I was just like, no, man, this is just a TV show.
Yeah, and I think
it didn't pick up on any of it.
That was part of the genius.
Yeah,
of the writing. The first half of the season, you're just like, what are they talking about?
I was
fan theories and plot threads.
Yeah, there were like a ton of those going on, but I think yes, not having that 6-day waiting period to kind of sit on it, think on it, maybe watch the episode
I also
again.
didn't read anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything going in. I just knew what the basic plot line was that it's a theme park about immersion.
Right. The biggest thing is that like Josh was saying, if you marathon it, I can see you not having a bunch of theories, because the only reason we all had theories is because we watched an hour and then we had a week to go, all right, what does all this mean? Let me rewatch it again. Let me think about how this is connected to that. If you're marathoning it in 12 hours, and
even the first 2 episodes, it's still not.
Oh yeah.
Going back through and I started picking up on stuff. I was like, oh, of course Bernard was a host. You see these things that they're showing you right in front of your own face, but
I want to go back and watch it because of that.
There's no real reason to even think about stuff.
Marathoning it, I mean, you do pick up on a lot of that stuff early on. They plotted it out so well. And they did a lot of things where they introduced elements of the show before ever showing you, before ever recognizing it. When Bernard first asks about this person that all the hosts are talking to, which ends up being Arnold in their head, he shows him the picture, and you see just Anthony Hopkins standing next to some other guy that nobody knows, and you think, oh, that's Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's actually playing into the fact that the hosts only see they can't see what won't hurt them. And so they do a lot of great introduction of those theories without having to overly recognize them until later on. And watching it as a marathon going back through, I got to see a lot of that stuff, and it had me looking for things to try and confirm the William theory with the Man in Black. Was when you see the Man in Black walk up to Dolores in the second episode, she drops that can. And he walks up and he picks it up and he's like, I can't be with you today, sweetheart, or whatever. He's like, I've got other stuff to do, and walks off. I was trying to watch that and then remember how she interacted with William the first time, and trying to match them up and see if there was any sort of clues and hints and stuff like that. They did a good job of planting those ideas in your head without having to be over the top with them.
Man, when he picked up that knife after Logan wakes up and the entire army is dead, and he's got that knife, I'm
God,
well,
it's the same knife.
That is the nail in the coffin. He is absolutely the Man in Black.
Yeah,
for me, I was still up until the final episode, I was sold on it being Logan.
He was.
Whoa, wow.
He was.
And you had a couple of good reasons why. So to me, the biggest, or maybe not the biggest, but definitely one of the biggest, and certainly at least the first fan theory kind of speculation that I saw online was the multiple timeline thing. Early on,
time frames.
Yeah, time frames. Not.
Or you're right. Time frames. So yeah, definitely. Early on, the first episode in which young William was introduced. I had no idea.
I just thought they were just people
totally oblivious. But yeah, as it went on, and especially those last 2 or 3 episodes, you started to realize okay, there are things I can look for, particularly what Dolores was wearing, or what the church looked like were the 2 biggest things.
Also, if you ever saw the Westworld logo.
Oh yeah, I never caught that.
It was different in the past. There's
That's
2
cool.
Westworld logos that you see.
Oh man, I need to.
Yeah,
check that out.
I didn't even pick up on the church until episode 8. I was like, oh, that's different. It so the three total time frames is what I've
I bet
thought
you.
of.
I bet you if you go back,
that we know of and
That
can
we know
confirm.
so far. Yeah,
Right.
I bet you if you go back and watch it, there might because isn't there like a big Delos like globe or something
At
like
the-
in
on
the
the
train
final-
station?
and maybe I don't know.
Like,
You're talking about when they first get there?
yeah, like I'm pretty sure there is, and I bet if you go back, like in the first William introduction when he's walking in and talking to, what's her name? I can't remember the character anymore. The blonde one. It's not there. Like I mean, those are like the little hints that kind of like spurred the idea of this multiple time frames theory. Man, it was brilliant though.
Yeah,
But even the young William was the middle time frame?
Yeah,
At least.
technically,
Yeah, 'cause,
the first one would be Arnold talking
and
to Dolores.
Yeah, with the church
in
and
the
all
room,
that
yeah.
stuff, and then the buried church was the William time frame, and then the re-exposed church at the end.
Yeah, it's crazy that like, for at least half of that show for me, I was basically watching like 3 different time frames of this particular like universe and had no idea that I was watching 3 different time frames
Right.
of this entire universe. It's like incredibly well thought out story.
See, like I thought of the time frame thing, and then I was talking to my friend about it, and he goes, "Yeah, that's not Bernard talking to Dolores." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Yeah, that was Arnold talking to Dolores the entire time. Like they didn't meet until the final episode." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yep.
And that even broke my brain even more. It just
Man, I hope we get more of that awesome old bartender in the second season. By the way, I love that.
That's fair. So, did you guys realize what the maze was before they explained what the maze was?
Yeah,
because I did not.
Thinking it was a physical maze.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Okay, so no, maybe I figured out that it was a metaphorical maze, that it wasn't a physical place they were trying to go to.
I didn't think there was like they were gonna get to a place where there was like a bunch of giant walls. Like I knew that pretty early on, but like I still thought it was like some sort of challenge or like series of puzzles that one needed to solve.
Maybe
to,
a hidden narrative. That's
yeah,
what I
like
was thinking
to discover some big secret about Westworld. Like early on, that's what I assumed it was. I did not realize that it was basically the like host's like journey to achieve like sentience, essentially.
Yeah.
Until Bernard basically explains it to Dolores there.
Yeah.
At,
with
like
the circle instead of the pyramid.
Last episode, second to last episode.
That was the
last
episode.
Yeah. It runs together there towards the end a little bit.
Yeah.
But
that would be Arnold explaining it to Dolores.
You're right. It would be. I'm sorry. You're right.
Damn it, Trey!
Fucking Westworld, man.
The Wyatt theory was a prevailing one for quite some time.
Oh, I nailed that one.
Oh, that Dolores was Wyatt.
Yeah.
So I missed that theory altogether. Like I didn't read anything
really?
about that, so I was totally oblivious
I will
to that.
say that there's a little bit of confusion for me in that particular regard because she obviously slaughters that town in the first time frame. The second time frame with William and all those people, they don't talk about Wyatt at all in that time frame. And then the third time frame, William's like the Man in Black is like fucking Wyatt, man. He's all over the place. This is Wyatt. So there was a little bit of a disconnect there. Like it didn't seem to exist
most of
30 years ago.
Most of the like the middle time frame though was dealing with young William, right?
And Dolores, and Teddy wasn't involved, so like Wyatt really wasn't talked about at all.
Yeah, young William probably didn't know anything about Wyatt,
Also,
so there's really no one there to talk about him.
If you
But
remember,
they kept talking about setting up Wyatt in the first time frame.
well, but if you
as
remember
far as
though,
I know.
Ford spoke with Bernard, I believe, about creating a backstory for Teddy in the third time frame, if I remember correctly. Like I think they used that slaughter in Teddy's history to create a backstory for him when he previously didn't have one. Because
But he envisions himself in 3 different forms in that.
yeah, but I think
Him
it was
as
all
Teddy,
in,
him as Teddy the soldier, and then him as Teddy the sheriff.
But like, because Teddy, did he even exist in the middle time frame? Like, I mean,
I'm
he
sure he
existed in
did.
some fashion, but did we see him?
Not
The
that I
middle time
remember.
frame was almost
I don't know.
almost universally
William,
Dolores,
Dolores,
and Logan
Yeah.
and Lawrence. But like, if you look
Yeah.
at in the third time frame, like that's the only time we hear Wyatt recognized, and that's because Ford specifically says we're creating a new villain for this new narrative. Like that was the villain of that third time frame's narrative that ended up being the big kind of reveal at the end. I think they just used that slaughter because like almost using the reveries to help create a new character and write it in.
That's fair. I'll have to.
It's the only way I
That's
can
one
try
of
and
those
reconcile.
Watching it, and again, probably to get those kind of details. What else? Obviously,
the Bernard being a host thing was a big thing, and it was so awesome. Like when him and Teresa were going searching for that extra family, and she was like, "What about this door?" Yeah, because there's no door there, and then it pans, and he looks back. She's like, "What about this door?" He goes, "What door?" I was like, "Oh fuck," because it just said about the host can't see what'll hurt him.
Yeah.
And then he just like walks in. I'm like, well. She gonna die.
I didn't think that at all.
Our guest appears weary.
Also, like, if Josh had looked over and saw my face when Bernard said the words "what door," I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like it was crazy to me, and I hadn't thought of that at all. I was just like, Bernard's just the worker that basically the second in command at this location, and.
I knew that one of the people at the facility, at least one,
I didn't think about that at all.
But we had also kind of talked about that, like right when it first started. Evan had said, like, at least one person, and we all kind of agreed, like, there's definitely at least one.
That plot twist was going to happen.
You had to assume with the way that they were setting up that story in general that somebody would be. I loved the fact that because there was a prevailing theory for the longest time that Ford really was the villain in the story. But he wasn't, and I love that. I love that he ended up being this incredibly sympathetic character by the end, where, yes, he has questionable morals overall, but he was really just a man who missed...
Very.
Yeah. But he was really just
at least one person murdered.
A man that misses his friend, that felt regret about the disagreement that he had with his friend that led to killing himself or basically setting himself up to die. Like I thought that it was...
Potentially.
Yes.
Well,
no, I'm talking about Arnold.
Oh, Arnold.
Like
okay.
him opening the park or being determined to open the park is what caused that whole breakdown with the Wyatt storyline, so to speak, and like him realizing years later that Arnold was right all along, and then putting this plan into motion. I loved that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, and Ford is kind of the best example of this idea of, and I guess this is like a theme in most. Stories where you're dealing with like the singularity or like sentience and mechanics or whatever, but like this idea that Ford like basically views himself as God in terms of the hosts. Like this idea of like I created you and therefore I own you and therefore I have like dominion over you, versus like the hosts who obviously like don't see it that way. And even some humans who like see the idea of we have given these like robots essentially free will, or at least some version of it or whatever, and so therefore like we can't expect them to like listen to every command that we give or whatever. Is a like super interesting theme throughout the whole thing, and like Ford does some interesting things with it. If you
piece it together,
if you kind of slide the perspective, right? Like if again, I don't want to get into like a talk about religion on this whole thing, but like that idea of like it's an interesting kind of commentary. I don't know if it's intentional on like a higher power and kind of that thought process of what a higher power is there to do and is capable of doing and all that good stuff.
I also liked a lot that there was almost like a time loop going on as well. Like it was kind of like a we've been here, we've done this all before type thing where the hosts gain consciousness every time, and like there was another loop and it kind of gets closer and closer to them like truly gaining consciousness, and so when it doesn't happen it seems as though Ford resets the whole thing and then like kind of tries again. It's almost I guess spoilers for another series, but it's almost Dark Tower-esque. It's like every loop you get closer and closer to the reality of what he's actually going for.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. So you mentioned the consciousness thing again. And that's the whole reason I brought it up the first time, and then I didn't mention it, but nothing you can do now. You didn't totally spoil it.
Sorta. No, I still don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. No, but like, and I sent a message about this because I was rewatching the beginning of the finale with Brittany, and then we ended up not making it through the whole thing. But anyways, Maeve at the beginning of or not at the beginning, but when she gets killed, her and her daughter in that earlier storyline or whatever.
Yeah.
The fourth time frame. That 1 year before it all started.
Yeah, technically, I guess that is the fourth time frame. You're right. So yeah, she gets murdered by the Man in Black, and like it totally foreshadowing that she is in the center of the fucking maze, and she is also the one that like
came closest
basically
to living.
The first one, like to gain like full to get to the center of the maze.
But
did she ever
did
really?
she?
I don't think she did.
I don't think she
I
did
guess
either.
that's true.
She did not, because somebody programmed her to go to the train and then get back off the fucking train, because that's what Bernard was saying. He's like, well, you're going to get on the train and then you're going to get up. She's like, nope, I'm not following any of that shit. And then she did the exact same thing that was
That's
actually
fair. That's
programmed.
fair.
There's also a prevailing theory that Dolores, first of all, Dolores was the first to get at least, like, to really kind of gain that consciousness 30 years ago.
Well, 30 years ago she didn't. Like, she made it very clear, like, I don't understand.
I guess. No,
like,
but
she
then
straight up said, like, I don't get what, he, like, or not Bernard, but
she was close,
Arnold
though,
says,
and I guess that was enough for
But
Arnold
she
to
also
argue.
changed her programming when she shot the Confederates. Because she said, I just decided I didn't want to be the damsel anymore, and she just blew those guys away. So it was the beginning.
Yes.
But she wasn't at the center.
But there is a prevailing theory that at the end of this, she really isn't conscious still.
She's not. Ford programmed her to shoot him. Ford programmed all of that. The people leaving the cold storage, he did all that. Teddy standing there like a dipshit, he did all that. Like, all of that he wrote.
Do we want to get into season 2 stuff potentially?
Yeah, let's go and talk about that. Unless you guys have anything else.
No.
It's probably a good spot to go. So yeah,
well,
good.
Ford potentially not being.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
like what we think is going to happen in season 2.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like I totally think that host he was creating underneath that fucking cabin
when Bernard kills Teresa
was him.
Yeah.
It was a Ford host, and he set himself up.
I don't think it's going to be look like Anthony Hopkins, because he probably is going to be too old to continue doing the show in 2 years.
No,
or
like I think that
long.
the one that was
He's
shot at the end was the host.
See, I don't know about that. I think that he may have been making a host for himself to put his consciousness into, potentially.
But have they really? That's possible. But have they established that
he's
going
to be too old in 2 years to start doing that show again, dude?
I
don't know.
How old is he? He's like in his 70s,
He's
right?
pretty old.
I mean,
people are acting into their
Harrison
90s.
Ford's old.
90s, the new 70s.
and he's
fine.
not
they're not making him run around or anything.
Yeah, he's not
like
in
that.
any sort of physically demanding role or anything currently.
He's not like in like a fucking get up.
I mean, that host
Spider-Man moves.
That host could be anybody. He could have been making what's her name, that young black lady. He could have been making her. He could have been making another
Charlotte.
Charlotte. He could have been making another
78.
Teresa. He's 78, so
Yeah.
he'll be 80 when this next one comes out.
His birthday is actually the last day of the year, so he'll be 79.
He'll be
3 weeks.
81 when this.
Yeah.
The second
But
season comes
it's
out.
going to be filming next year. It's going to come out like they're talking early 2018 at this point now, which sucks that it's that long of a wait. But it's
He's
we'll
probably
see.
still going to be in it, like flashback wise. They'll probably film
Potentially,
some.
and you know what? They did an incredible job with making him look young. Whoever
Yeah.
did the effects on young Anthony Hopkins need to go and talk to the people who made young Michael Douglas and say, this is how it's done.
or
dude."
young Robert Downey Jr. I don't think Civil War's Robert Downey Jr. looked all that great, to be
Oh, I
honest
thought
with
it
you.
looked really good, especially compared to young Michael Douglas.
Most things do. That dude belongs in a wax museum.
He is a wax museum.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think
But
that Ford is alive still, potentially at least.
I agree with Josh. I think that was totally the host that got shot at the end of the
Potentially.
season.
Because,
What
they
else?
haven't really established the idea of transferring consciousness, so to speak. They have just programmed the host to act a certain way.
That's also true, but would it surprise you if he did? The person who essentially led these hosts to have life and
Hang on. Did that stupid thing it does. Like just now, though, so we're fine. I'll just let you hear it and I'll start it back over.
That's also true, but would it surprise you if he did?
Right there.
Okay.
Or what you were saying.
Would it surprise you if he created a way to transfer
Right.
consciousness?
What's up, Periscope?
Hey,
And YouTube.
and YouTube.
Behind the
a little behind the
scenes.
scenes, yeah. Inside baseball, and we're back.
I mean, if he is essentially responsible for getting these people to the center of the maze and gaining consciousness and free will, that's just a very small leap.
I get that. For me, the thing is, he didn't. He manipulated off of the back of Arnold's work, so to speak. He wrote the storyline, And he is consistent in saying he is a storyteller. I just want to tell my stories. Like he put them in the position to come to that conclusion. And yes, I guess if they could do that, I think the only way that he would do that is if he knew for sure that this consciousness theory could actually play out, that you could actually get full sentience as a host. Otherwise, transferring your consciousness into a host is still going to leave you assumingly under the same rules of not really being conscious.
I think that the plot-wise, it's easy to say transferring sentience, but to like write how they actually do that is the harder part. To let's say that they just made this jump automatically, that he did it. Yeah, he's probably smart enough to do it, but it's hard to say that this is what they've been focused on, and they've been trying to make them more real, and now they're able to be self-aware. It's hard to say that, like, all right, now that we did this, instantly we know how to do this.
Well, potentially instantly.
Yeah,
But
that's what I meant.
Regardless, I mean, he might just be dead.
Yeah,
everybody
that also,
is assuming that he's alive. I mean, that's almost perfectly how Arnold died. He was shot in the back of the head when he felt like going out by Dolores. And what else is there for him to live for?
Yeah,
he climbed the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
He did everything he needed to do.
That makes perfect sense to me as well. But it leaves out the
plus
host
everybody.
that was made.
Plus, well, potentially again, that could be anybody. It could be William.
Yeah.
For all we know, the person that got shot out in the field that's smiling could be a fucking host. For all we know.
God dang it.
Yeah. It's the best part about the show, I think. But no, actually, as much as I love Anthony Hopkins, like I kind of hope that Chuck's theory is the correct one. Like I'm pretty cool with, for a show with as many like twists and turns and kind of like false narratives and different things like that. Like I'd be pretty cool if in this particular case they were just a bit straightforward with it. Like because there's plenty of other shit for me to like go down the rabbit hole.
It would also be full circle with their relationship too. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So they never wrapped up with Elsie. I mean, she's presumed to be dead, but do we really know if she?
We don't technically know for sure.
And then the Elder Hemsworth.
Elder Hemsworth, indeed, is also captured, and we don't know where he's at.
That could be
tackled by Ghost Nation.
Sure.
God, is Ghost Nation
a little racist? But whatever.
Is Ghost Nation a like sub that can go like a subplot that can go between parks? Maybe
that would be interesting. So you know what? Now that you mentioned that, let's make that the last thing we discussed. So let's start with worlds you think are likely to be seen in the next couple of seasons, and then we'll kind of talk about some just like out there worlds you would like to see. Well, there's
obviously Samurai or Shogun world, whichever one you want to go with. That's blatant.
Yeah, I mean they literally show it. So I mean, obviously no guarantee we'll see it in season 2, but I imagine they wouldn't have chosen to tease that if they weren't going to. If we're going to spend a little bit of time there, at least.
Yeah. And there's at least one other one, because whenever like she opens up that note and it says where her daughter is at Park 1, they wouldn't put Park 1 if Westworld was Park 1, so that's obviously not it. And why would a little black girl be a host in Shogun World?
Yeah.
So there is at least 3 parks.
I read somewhere it's 7.
There was a fan theory that there
7.
are potentially 7.
But
one of them's stupid. There's not Future World.
Future World is actually the sequel to the original Westworld movie.
Correct, but they're not going to do that because they would be bottlenecking their own self on what time frame they are currently in.
Yeah, the whole issue is because the show is already essentially the future, like to us.
Yeah.
To then go and see what they would think is the future. Yeah, then like really like
back in the 70s, it was easy.
I think it's a lock. Like I think it's a lock that we see Future World and Medieval World.
I would take that bet.
Oh, Medieval World.
Now Medieval World maybe not.
I think Modern World, the Future World would be Modern World. I think Modern World would be a thing, almost like a GTA kind of style, where you would go into like a regular world, and so whenever the hosts think that they're actually leaving, potentially Abernathy got on a train and left.
That's the big
Future World would be Modern World. They wouldn't know the fucking difference. He saw that picture with the buildings and stuff like that. He walks out, he sees the buildings. That's Modern World. I don't think Future World is going to be anything.
That'd be a great like plot device. This idea that like they all get out
They're like, yeah, we got out. And like,
then,
nope,
oh,
you're just
shit.
in another park.
Yep.
You dumb bitches.
I think Medieval World would be awesome.
And it's like easy to do. There's been
Yeah.
talk about HBO maybe being a little hesitant with that because they already have a medieval thing. I don't think they'll do a whole season in Medieval World, but I can see them at least doing like an episode. I want there to be like a Zootopia type situation where like they just travel between parks.
Oh,
Oh, you
like an
get a
episode or
park
two.
hopper pass, you know?
Yeah,
and you
man.
You get on the monorail, you go wherever you want.
Yeah.
that would be
for a
awesome.
full day.
I also think that like a World War would be an awesome park
Like
idea.
a World War II or
World War One, World War Two, one of those.
like an old
Or even
battle,
like Civil War would be
old
cool.
battles.
revolutionary,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Well,
There's
kinda-
enough
they
Civil
kinda did
War
some-
like
yeah.
reenactments that you would think people would pay for that.
yeah.
Granted, the people who do that are probably not rich people.
Oh,
But whatever.
something
But you can get
like
some of that.
Amazon world, like some sort of like third world.
You just
kind
ship
of thing.
shit to places all over the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
you kind of get the Civil War
Corporate
with
world.
Westworld. So, but I just think it'd be like to be able to participate in D-Day would be a big attraction, and not die would be a big attraction.
The problem is like that's one story, right? Like
Yeah.
the West is like, the Wild West or whatever is like this almost essentially just, like a
Lawless.
theme.
Yeah.
And then like you can build
Do
stories
whatever you
around
want
it.
to.
Whereas like D-Day is this, you can't build like a whole, like not everybody can participate in.
Industrial Revolution, I actually think could be cool.
French Revolution.
French Revolution, honestly, Great Depression, Prohibition era.
Now
Gangster
Gangster World
World
has been
would.
talked about, like
That
this
would
idea
be, I
of
think that would be a really good. See, and
and again,
whenever
that's a theme of like
whenever you
you can
talked
build
about
stories around.
Medieval World, man, could you imagine like a crossover? Like,
Westeros
even-
World?
You could see like somebody like a Daenerys off in the background, like they're doing actually a part of the Game of Thrones show that we've seen, from season 5 or something.
That would be
like
awesome.
That
That
would be
pretty cool.
fucking
Talking
incredible.
about you would pay to go fight in the Battle of Blackwater?
Why not
right?
hang out the wall for a few days, take off?
Man, Medieval World.
The
you
White
have to
Walkers are
be-
just hosts.
Yeah. Well, all of them are hosts.
Oh,
Every single
no. Don't do that to me. My brain already hurts
Walter Frey is the worst of all the hosts.
Oh god.
because he doesn't come back. I hate him.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else just like crazy out there, but I feel like there's been a prehistoric, especially because Michael Crichton.
Fuck that.
Is involved.
Jurassic Park.
I would fucking love.
What, where? So,
He brought up a
But
point.
see, the whole point of like Westworld is to develop consciousness
where's the
in the
humanity?
hosts.
Yeah,
Like that, I don't think that is going
There's
to happen.
cavemen.
it would be cool, but
Not in fucking
Uh,
dinosaur times.
but Josh brought up
We're
a
gonna
point while
rape
we're
actual history
What
in
is
this?
The Croods?
Whatever, man. It doesn't have to be historically accurate.
Josh.
That's the whole fucking point
Yeah,
of
it
the
is.
parks.
no, it's not. I don't give a shit about history. I
Although
want to go in there.
I do love the idea of Ford sitting down across from a velociraptor and putting him in analysis mode
Whatever,
and being
man.
like,
I want to fuck a
Tell
cave
me
girl.
where-
No, it's like drop the accent. Yes, Dr. Ford.
Hello.
I will pay $10,000 a day to fuck a cave girl and hit a T-Rex in the face. Like, take
It's
my
40,000,
fucking money.
by the way.
Whatever. I don't give a shit.
Oh man,
I'm rich. Let me punch a T-Rex.
it just
also that show just becomes Terra Nova at that
Have you
point.
seen that
All right.
kangaroo video? It's like that, but with a T-Rex.
the
That
scene
kangaroo
where
was so
Williams
confused.
walking through the getting his wardrobe done, and he has to choose between
Yeah.
the hats. They just make him choose, but like, which fur would you prefer?
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
Barney or Fred? Let's go.
And then you
Oh my
got
god, a Flintstones world.
you just get clubs, and you just have to drag them around behind.
Are you a white loincloth or a black loincloth?
black loincloth?
I'm saying.
No, it would
I mean,
be
it would
so,
be cool, but not cool to watch.
It would be terrible. I love Jurassic Park more than most people in this world. I fucking love it, but I do not want
It'd be awesome.
this show to be Jurassic Park for a season. Like,
How
it's
about
it,
pirates?
Oh
Pirates would be
goodness!
cool.
yes.
Pirate
See,
World would be awesome.
there. Now we're talking. Let's just pick and choose our
I-
favorite shows. So we've done Boardwalk Empire. We've done Game of Thrones.
Black sails.
We've done Black Sails.
Right.
Vikings.
Viking Era would be cool.
Yeah, Viking World
Fine.
is a very easy
Yeah,
like
that would be a train.
route to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And also,
I would actually see them doing that over like a medieval because it's not quite that far back. It would still have the same kind of grit and
Yeah.
like fighting and stuff like that, but they won't be any kind of Game of Thrones.
I
like,
agree. Viking
comparisons.
World is a very easy way to get out of that comparison.
Well, now I want that.
And really cool.
All right.
The Minnesota Viking World.
Yeah.
You just get to play football and then leave.
Superhero
You-
world.
Oh no.
Powers? Is that really where you want to go?
But
Chuck
not
ruined
shitty.
it. Chuck ruined
You liked
it.
it until then, didn't you?
What are
Yep,
you gonna-
but then Chuck ruined it.
How are you gonna do that? You're just gonna give humans superpowers as they walk through the door?
It's technology and shit. If we can fucking,
Here, you can fly
if we
now.
can fuck
If
kids,
we could
girls,
put
and
a man on the
On the
moon.
if
I
we
like
can-
Josh. Just technology and shit, man.
That's exactly how it goes.
Just pump them full of the superpowers, and
Trey
then you
wants
get
to
out
fuck
there.
a cave girl while riding on the back of a T-Rex.
Because
So
that's
he's
doable.
punching the T-Rex. Josh, get
Yeah,
it right.
You know how I'm going to do that? With
Technology and
technology and
shit,
shit.
Oh man,
All right.
I feel like James Marsden would have to be in the superhero world as well.
Yeah.
He's in all the worlds, just being like,
Oh, he dies
it's
every
fine. Like every time he shows up, I hear womp womp womp.
That's fair.
On that note, I bet we wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Westworld's a good show.
It's a fucking.
If you've
great
watched
show.
this,
It-
you should still watch it, I guess, but it's not going to be as exciting.
It makes all the plot twists and Mr. Robot look like we wrote it.
Which is
That's
crazy
fair.
because Mr. Robot is also brilliant.
It is.
I need to finish that second season.
Man, that reveal in that season still fucking blew my mind.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to start watching that like tomorrow. No, that's not true. I work tomorrow. Thursday, though, Mr. Robot. Somebody text me. Remind me.
No.
No.
Come on.
No, we're gonna play a game
All right, you know what?
like Pigsaw. We're gonna play a game.
Yeah, Pigsaw. I forgot about him. You gotta get one of those little wheelchairs that like animals have when they don't have back hind legs. You just make it really squeaky.
Pigsaw is the potential name for my pig, by the way.
Was that off air?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was off
Whoops, sorry guys. that line kind of blurs, a little.
Yeah,
This
Yeah.
late at night, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost 2 a.m., guys.
it is indeed. And with that, we bid you adieu.
A dude?
A dude.
We bid you a dude.
We bid you a dude. See you, YouTube.
I'm working on it.